Here we are.
We're back. Again.
Welcome back to Quiet in the Bag.
Shh. Be quiet in the back.
I'm Patrick William.
Yeah, and I'm Austin Jenny.
And we are your hosts this fine Monday.
That is right.
Or whatever day of the week you chose to tap in on this one.
Yeah, it's Monday here. Where
Monday
is it?
Today. We watched a lovely film today.
Yeah, in theaters for our first.
It is our first time watching one in theaters.
Yes, absolutely.
Coming back to the studio and recording.
Yeah, totally different vibe. For sure.
Yes, I'm all discombobulated.
Yeah, what's my process, my routine?
We went to an AMC dine-in theater,
Yeah.
and we were served our dinners,
Yes.
drinks, and candy
Yes.
by the staff right to the seats.
It is distracting.
And incredible.
Yeah.
If we had that when I was growing up, it would have been a game changer.
Yeah, man. But yeah, we saw it in subtitles. My first viewing of My Neighbor Totoro in the original
My
release.
Neighbor Totoro is cute.
Yeah. He's so friendly.
So fluffy. Oh.
Dude.
It's so cute.
It's such a out of this world.
How do you pronounce the animator's name again? I know it's Miyazaki.
Yeah.
What's his first
name? Or something.
Hayao Miyazaki.
Yes.
The creative genius behind Studio Ghibli.
Mm-hmm.
What are the other main movies? Princess Mononoke.
Yeah. Spirited Away. Howl's Moving Castle. Ponyo. Kiki's Delivery Service. Fucking
These are all of the Japanese animated classics of our childhoods.
Yes.
That he has gained fame over.
Absolutely.
And massive success.
I mean, they're just, without a doubt, some of the best animated films I've ever seen. You know, across the board.
Beautiful, cool, unique animation style. And there's just a natural sort of like elegance to the way he tells stories.
Oh, this is such a profound ability to tell a story. It's like you get carried up in it immediately every time.
They're very heartfelt, often like emotional, and they connect with your sort of soul.
Yeah,
like they're very like deep.
Yeah,
but sort of simple at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that describes this movie pretty well.
Yeah, this one wasn't like there wasn't too much to this movie as far as like the substance of the plot goes. But my God, was it just a wholesome, beautiful little adventure? Like
right.
That's exactly like it. Just made you feel good. It was very pleasant to watch. Good score, good voice acting, everything.
Yeah. So we start the movie with a father and two daughters moving out to the countryside.
Yeah.
They're going into like a new home.
Mm-hmm. To a little pretty.
Kind of like a rural cottage.
Yeah, for sure. With like a really large forest with a pronounced tree right next to it.
And it's all like farmland surrounding them. It's like rice paddies and
absolutely.
People growing vegetable gardens.
Yeah, nothing fancy.
Quaint, rural. I was trying to place what time period this movie takes place during.
Agreed. I don't know if I really saw much in the form of electricity, like too heavily.
There was that's something I was looking for. There was electricity.
Yeah, but like,
but not running water.
Yeah, I think it was just because that's like the rural aspect of it.
Yeah, they're super rural.
Yeah, I would guess like early 70s.
I was gonna say maybe like 40s.
Really? Gotcha. Yeah, I guess I don't really see any telephone poles or anything like that.
They have telephones. They're like
they have the
they're
telephone
like rotary
poles,
phones.
Yeah. Huh.
But phones were around then. They have cars, but they had to fetch their water with a bucket from the creek. Mm-hmm. Most people are actually on bicycles.
Yeah.
And walking to school. It's a single room schoolhouse that she goes to. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I struggled to place it anywhere from the 40s to 70s. Could have been, but I think the 70s would have been a bit more modern.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, like there's never like a cell phone at all. I mean, not a cell phone, but just like anything other than like a hard rotary landline, like you said. But nonetheless, we're in this tiny little house. They're getting used to this new little spot. Their mom is in a hospital with some kind of defined illness.
The whole like first section of the movie is them moving into the house and there is no mom.
Yeah,
and
true.
They don't address that. It's just dad and the daughters. And I got this sense that like something was missing.
Yeah.
It's like something the way that they're directing it and like drawing attention to certain things with a single father. They don't have to tell you, hey, mom's in the hospital or like something. You just get this uneasy feeling that like, where's mom? Like something happened to mom.
Definitely.
And they're not telling us yet. And yeah, you do find out after maybe about the first third of the movie that mom is sick. She's been in the hospital. They never say what it is.
It was like a cold, perhaps. She went in for a cold.
Well, she gets a cold, and that's why they give her that telegram.
Yeah.
They send the telegram, but she's like, I can't believe they bothered you over just a cold. So maybe she had like pneumonia, something like more severe that a cold would exacerbate.
Yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, I just remember, I think...
Tuberculosis?
TB.
I can't believe you would come around those kids with the TB.
Oh, no. But yeah, I mean, so like what? They just get introduced to Totoro pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, so the girls are just getting used to the new place. They're like chasing around each other in the new house, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
And there's like dust balls, like dust bunnies.
Little suit spreaders.
And the girls sort of imagine that they're like alive and moving around because the place is so dusty. They do eventually the younger one runs into Totoro first, and then the older daughter runs into him second.
Yeah.
But it's important to point out that like this is a movie that's being told from the girls' perspectives.
Absolutely.
And it's really doing a faithful job of representing the childlike wonderment of, I don't know, like just ignorance and naivete.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know anything about the world really.
Yep.
And everything's a new question. And dad gives them like just enough.
Oh, I love his relationship with them.
Yeah.
Man, like when the little girl goes and she's like, I'm just going out. And he's like, okay.
He's like, okay. And then she gets lost.
Yep.
That is really like speaks to a bygone era.
Yeah.
The ruralness, but also the time period where like these girls are like 4 and 10 and they're kind of like in charge of their own lives in a big way.
To an extent, for sure.
Like dad is getting on the bus, taking the bus to a train, taking the train to Tokyo and working during the day. And the girls are just staying at home with Nanny, who's an old woman.
Yeah, old woman who they don't really like even know that well.
Yeah, she's just like the neighborhood nanny.
Yeah, definitely.
There's sort of like it takes a village mentality going on with people who just sort of chip in this area.
Yeah, well, I mean,
help
that's
each other.
how it was for a long time.
Right, it's a village mentality.
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty cool to see actually. But these girls are kind of like more or less like independent at a very young age.
Yeah.
And they're seeing the world through the eyes of a child.
Yeah.
And they're seeing like it's not just a dusty house. The dust bunnies are alive and they're like ghosts and the house is haunted.
Spirits, forest spirits.
And I think it's really beautiful the way that the dad sort of like, he doesn't ever undercut their version of what they're seeing.
No.
He actually just like adds to it.
Embraces it fully.
Yeah, he embraces the whimsy and the imagination of these girls.
Takes them seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's not something you see every day.
It's not.
But like taking seriously the mind of a child and letting it have full reign over its reality.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's super cool.
And that's what Studio Ghibli is really like always all about.
For sure. I mean, and in a more literal sense, that's just a pretty rock solid way to interact with your child.
They're never going to see things the way you see it because their brain is not there yet.
It's not like a rational.
You got to meet them where they're at.
Absolutely.
They're in imagination land.
Yeah, just going off in every single direction.
But yeah, they run into Totoro. May sort of gets lost in a maze of bushes, kind of. She's just like crawling around.
What a cool sequence too, going like.
It's like a tunnel
yeah.
of like
it's her size too. It's perfect.
It's like a tiny shrubbery tunnel, and she crawls through it. She finds a massive, cool tree, falls into a hole, and then there's Totoro.
She lands right on his belly. He's just
Totoro is a giant Snorlax-esque, like,
Yeah.
puff monster.
Yeah, like a forest spirit guy.
He's a forest spirit.
Yeah.
When they tell their dad that they met him, he calls Totoro the king of the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that it's an honor that he came and like blessed you with his presence. And
Yeah.
he takes them back to the big tree, and they go and the dad like does a prayer or like honors the forest.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really cool way of like embracing the child's reality
Absolutely.
and mixing it with real sort of like Japanese spiritualism, like
Totally.
the history of their culture would have all these elements.
Yeah, for
in
sure.
play,
So, to a tree like that, I'm sure there'd be some sort of shrine going on, you know?
And I thought it was worth noting too that the dad mentions that when they were house hunting, they saw the tree, and that tree is what made the mom fall in love with the house they chose. And now that she's in the hospital, she hasn't actually been able to come to the house.
Yeah.
So the relationship to the tree, I think, is like very rooted in the relationship to the mother.
Gotcha.
And so Totoro being like the forest spirit, the symbolism of that is important. Like,
Yeah.
it's the girl's way of coping with the absence of their mother, right?
Yeah, it's creating this fantasy of this forest spirit that helps them and cares for them. Yeah.
And it represents, it fills in the absence of their mother. It represents the mother's,
Mother's love.
fondness
Yeah.
of this place.
Yeah. Fucking cool.
Yeah. They just kind of like, it's kind of just a slice of life movie.
It really is.
It doesn't have like a huge plot, really.
No.
The plot is just,
I mean, May gets lost
Right.
out going to give her mother corn.
yeah, it's just like events that occur
Yeah.
during a 1 to 2 week period
Mm-hmm.
of these girls settling into their new house, but there's no overarching storyline beyond family moves into house.
Yeah.
Girl goes to school.
Yeah.
Nanny watches young girl. Dad
Yeah.
goes to work. Mom is sick.
Yep.
It's like rinse and repeat. They're just going through days,
Yeah.
which again is sort of breaking the mold.
In what sense?
Traditional storytelling.
Oh, yeah,
Like
for sure.
Making a movie
Yeah.
about something.
Yeah, and I guess
It's like not.
it's really not about very much.
It's just about these girls like feeling sad and
Yeah.
being children.
You know, I feel like I don't think I've ever seen any really American films that are like that.
No,
Right?
that's what I mean.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's there's a whole genre in anime called slice of life.
For sure.
I think it's a more Japanese way of doing media,
Yeah.
but you don't tell
like
stories like that in
peek into
the
experience.
Western world.
Not at all. You need like your points, you need to be hitting a climax.
Right,
Yeah.
like dilemma,
Yeah.
solution, right, like setbacks,
Yeah.
overcome them.
Yeah.
Who's the bad guy? This movie has no villain.
Oh yeah, not at all. That's crazy.
There's no
Literally nothing.
the villain. The only antagonistic thing in this movie is that mom is sick.
Mom is sick, and when May gets lost, there's some
There's
like
drama
anxiety.
with that.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's no bad person. There's nothing they're fighting against. They're just existing. They're on an emotional journey together. The family. The dad is reassuring the girls.
Yeah.
The house might be haunted, but if we just laugh really loud,
Yeah.
we can
Oh, that's
scare
so
away
cute.
the ghosts and then they're all in the bathtub like laughing and splashing and
Yeah, man. No, that was just it was just so cute. Like it was just a purely wholesome time.
Yeah.
Like that is so gonna be on my list for my kids to watch.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. They're
the
gonna see all
whole
of them.
Ghibli series.
Yeah.
is
Princess
gonna be-
Mononoke can wait a little while.
It's a little scary.
It is. There's just a lot of a lot of blood.
Yeah, there's like arrows shooting and stuff. Fighting.
Yeah, taking off guys' fucking heads and stuff
Yeah.
with arrows.
That's
but-
maybe like
It's like
12 years old.
Yeah, 12, 13. Yeah.
But this is very like 5, 6 years old. Like you can watch
Absolutely.
this at any age.
It's totally. This is like this one. The closest one other than this is that I see like for this age range is like probably Ponyo. Have you seen that one?
No.
Wow, it's so special. That's probably one of my favorite animations for sure.
Yeah?
Like, the water in that movie is so perfect and textural. You can feel it just by seeing it. It's
Nice.
Crazy. And then Kiki's Delivery Service as well,
Okay.
which is very much so a kid's one as far as they go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Spirited Away the most.
I get that. It's perfect. I saw it in...
It's just the best.
Man, I saw it in both Japanese and English in the theaters when it came through.
Nice.
Totally different movie. I swear. Yeah. Disney fucked with it. I'm on the record. Fuck you, Disney. That pissed me off, dude. It's a much more somber and serious movie.
In English?
In Japanese.
Oh, in Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not so like whiny all the time and afraid. She's like really just takes it. It's just so strange, the decisions they made for the English audience.
Yeah. I thought that Miyazaki does a good job of like portraying the bravery of children.
Oh yeah.
The courage that it takes.
Yeah.
To be a child.
Yeah.
Like experiencing a new world. You have so little information and there's so much to learn that it's very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in these movies, the adults are just kind of doing adult things and the kids are on their own self-guided journey.
Totally.
Like experiencing mystery and learning about life.
Danger sometimes, too.
And the little girl, May, in this movie, she keeps saying, like, I'm not afraid of the ghosts. I'm not afraid. And she's, like, doing this like a bulldog. Yeah. And no one's challenging her on that. No one's saying she is afraid.
she's just
like learning that you're not supposed to be afraid.
Yeah.
And she's brave. And she's like, I'm not afraid. But then, like, there's scenes where she just... They never explain why, but you can kind of surmise why. But she'll just show up to her sister's school, and the nanny is like, she wouldn't let it go. She needs to see you. And the sister comes out, and she's just crying and hugs her, and she's just like, there's just tears coming down. She says nothing.
Yeah.
And she just had a bad day.
That's it.
And she just misses mom. And, you know, there's just like, there's no words exchanged. It's just a moment.
Yeah.
And that's what it's like being a kid.
And it's just so real. And it's so crazy that's done through animation, too. Because, you know, I don't see, like, that sort of real feeling, like, expression as a kid through most, you know, filmed movies. There's just, it's way harder to do.
I feel like most writers would have had the characters say things to each other.
100%.
And they would have tried to, like, verbally explain the emotional state of the girl and then rationalize it through the older daughter and like talk through it and do this whole therapy process.
Yeah, and not let you just figure out any of it. I mean,
and
it's not
Miyazaki's just like, no, just have the girl stand there and cry and hug in silence.
That's it. That's real.
Yeah, there's a lot of silence in this movie.
I was pretty taken aback by it. I feel like that's another thing that I didn't notice before, and I did notice the difference in Spirited Away because I literally watched them day 1 and day 2, and the silent parts in the Japanese cut were always filled with score on the American cut. Always.
Really?
All the time.
Dude, just let it breathe.
Yeah, no, that was literally not an option.
You gotta let it breathe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the false narrative that like American audiences are extra dumb. You know,
Yeah.
I really feel like, or not even extra,
It's like
but just dumb.
the music is supposed to tell you how to feel.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
It's supposed to create a sense of like urgency and pacing, but it's like Miyazaki wanted you to take a beat here.
Yeah.
And meditate on like what these kids must be feeling and think about and maybe feel yourself, like the empathy of what it would be like to have a sick mother and you're in a new place.
Yeah. So
and you
scary.
don't know any. Yeah, it's scary, and you have to be brave. And you're not afraid of ghosts, but I still want to feel like I want to cry. And, like, you're supposed to sit there and like sort of chew on that, and not just have like the strings be like, like dude, fuck off.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, it's a pretty perfect little movie.
It is. I really enjoyed the different magical character design, as always with Ghibli. But yeah, it's just so out there, and I mean that's pre-Snorlax, so kind of think Snorlax is actually Totoro.
Yeah. Totoro is first. Let's talk about all the creatures in this movie.
Yeah, man.
You obviously have Totoro. He's like a bear with sloth claws.
Yeah, he's like
long claws.
He reminds me of like a bear crossed with like a bunny with little sloth claws, and he walks upright.
When he's in the rain, he appears next to the girls as they're waiting for their dad, which is a very somber scene.
It is.
They're waiting at the bus stop for their dad, but he's not on the right bus, and so they just continue to wait for the next bus, and it's just pouring rain, and it's getting darker and darker and darker, and it's very quiet. These girls are clearly just like getting a little scared, and like the daughter's falling asleep. And
yeah, it's like sitting on her sister's
all of a sudden,
back.
when they're at their lowest, she looks over and Totoro's little foot, because she's got her umbrella, and Totoro's little foot comes into view, and she looks up and he's just like there, and it's raining, so he needs rain protection too. He has a leaf on his head.
It's so cute.
It's barely blocking any rain.
It's just right in between his ears. Ugh.
And she has an extra umbrella and gives it to him, and he finally figures out how to hold it over his head. He starts to hear like the bigger raindrops fall off of the tree above him and hit the small wet drops on the umbrella and create that sound.
Yeah. He really likes it.
And you see Totoro's like fur like bristle up. He's like, oh. And then like, another wave of drops comes and he's like, oh. And you see his smile get bigger. His eyes get bigger.
Yeah.
And then he activates.
Yeah, just what does he? Does he stomp?
He just goes like, oh, like jumps up, and then he comes down. He stomps the ground, and all the trees shake. All the raindrops come down at the same time.
Dude, it's like a cascade of his hair just.
Yeah, and he's loving the sound and the textures.
Yes.
What a cutie. And
seriously.
There's like a miniature Totoro.
Yeah, just like a tiny one.
It's like a bunny rabbit size one.
And then a
really small one, like a chipmunk size one.
Or even like a little chick, like a chicken,
and
baby chicken.
That one can go like translucent.
Yes.
And disappear.
For some reason.
They all can, actually. At different times, they all go translucent.
Mm-hmm.
There is a magical Cheshire Cat bus.
Yeah. That's the only way you can...
It looks exactly like the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, and the bus from, oh God, what's the one? They shrink down and they go.
Magic School Bus.
Yeah, it's like Cheshire Cat and Magic School Bus. Just went.
Yeah. Yeah, he has like 8 legs.
Yeah,
like a millipede.
Yeah.
Its headlights are rats.
Yeah.
They're just rats.
Rats that glow.
Glowing rats that can look different directions. The door just like emerges from its fur. It's like, pew!
I love the noise the door
the sound
made.
effects.
Every time that it made that noise, I was like, yeah.
It's like a UFO sound. It's like, why? It's an animal. But I guess it's also a bus.
Yeah, that's okay.
What was the word for what that's based on? There's a Japanese sort of like... it's like a folk...
Boku Neka?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, it's like Bake Keiko or something like that.
Yep.
Bukake. But there's like a folklore like in Japanese mythology, and it's like these spirit creatures that can shapeshift and become different things. And it was like based on, I think a lot of it is based on that concept.
I'm sure. I think most of Miyazaki's worlds are.
Yeah, it's like personifications, or they're not people, but embodiments of ideas and essences that come to life in the form of like an animal or a spirit. Or
an object and a combination of these.
Yeah. Animated objects and spiritual cat buses. It's just very fun.
Yeah, man.
Everything in this movie is friendly.
Literally. Yeah, it kind of like, it was weird to think about once you said that there's no bad guy.
Yeah, there's scary moments because the girls are young.
Yeah.
And they don't know like about the world that much, so they see the dark attic and they're like they go up the ladder and just start screaming like into the darkness. There's just nothing there.
Nothing at all. It's just totally fine.
So there's scary moments where they're like unsure, they're afraid.
Yeah.
But there's nothing actually that ever interacts with them in a negative way.
No, yeah. So it's just no antagonist.
Really. Everyone in the village is like super nice.
So kind.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
Dad is a saint.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Mom's a saint. She's just not around.
She's sick. Mom's sick. She got TB.
She got the TB and they had to quarantine.
Dude, have you played Red Dead yet?
I've played like the first 2 chapters.
Gotta keep playing.
And I just keep pivoting to other games.
Oh, I gotta go back. Arthur needs you.
I know.
Arthur needs your help.
I like the game. It's nothing against Red Dead. It won't hold my attention compared to Baldur's Gate and Cyberpunk and Starfield. And
I get it. I still haven't played Cyberpunk at all. Yeah, I know. Oh, goodness me.
So, this Totoro flick, a lot of heart.
Just heart. Nothing else. Pretty much no other substance. But beautiful fucking movie. Like, it's still like a solid 9.5 for me. Like, it's a near perfect movie. I don't know. I wouldn't change anything about it.
Yeah, I think there's 2 ways you have to score a movie like this because it's so unique.
Yeah.
You have to score it against what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
And then score it for how you enjoy it.
Okay, for
so
sure.
I would give it like a 10 out of 10 in terms of achieving its own objectives.
Yeah.
Like Miyazaki did what he set out to do perfectly.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful little meditation on grief and growing up and
family,
childhood,
love,
the power of imagination to cope with hardship. And, and taking children seriously and like not dashing their imagination.
Yeah, not being a dream crusher.
Yeah.
There's
no dream crusher.
There's not a single dream crusher, and that's beautiful because I hate when people are dream crushers.
Yeah.
It's fucking lame. It really is.
Every time that the girls like present an idea to an adult that is outlandish, childish, fantastical, the adults just expand on the idea in a way that like guides it in a healthy direction.
Yeah, like almost touches it a little bit towards more reality, which is
they're like,
good.
They're like, I just met Totoro, and he's like, that's very fortunate because Totoro, lucky. The king of the forest, blessed you with his presence. We should go to the largest tree in the forest and say a prayer.
Yeah.
You know, he grounds their experience in like a concrete thing.
In reality.
In reality, something you can do to interact with the forest.
Yeah. It's
such a good way of handling that instead of being like, Totoro's not real.
Yeah, especially to like a 4-year-old dude.
Right?
Yeah, no way. That's not. This is not do it.
The other way to rate a movie like this is like, okay, well, how much did I actually like watching it, and like, will I watch it again?
Yeah.
How's my viewer experience?
Yeah.
Right? And those are 2 different things. And
Very
I
much
try
so.
to keep that in mind, especially with like kids movies or things that are in genres that just aren't my favorite genres, but I still respect.
Yeah.
I think it's like a 10 out of 10 in its own right.
Yeah.
And as far as like my viewing experience, like watching it again, maybe like the 3rd or 4th time, it's probably like a 7.
Yeah.
7.5.
I for sure used to get more wonder out of it, and I think a lot of my not the majority, but a solid bit of my enjoyment is nostalgia based for sure, you know. But I guess I'd probably go like 8.2.
Like when I compare my experience watching that to my experience watching Parasite.
Yeah.
Parasite did a lot more for me because it's an adult movie with adult themes, and my mind was much more like engaged, and the humor and the drama is just like, it was more for me.
Yeah.
So I just enjoyed watching it more, but that doesn't mean that it's a better movie. Yeah. It's just, if I was like 8 or 13,
my God,
you know, like it's a different time period. It's doing what it's meant to be doing really well.
It's interesting to compare it within the just Ghibli universe. Because I mean, I definitely don't like that one more than most of the other ones, I would say.
Yeah, I mean,
but that just goes to show you how good they all are.
I think it's mainly for me, it's because there is no antagonist. There's no, for lack of a better word, plot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's story, but there's no plot. There's nothing like that the characters need to overcome or accomplish. Yeah. So you're not like super invested. It's just kind of a slice of life that you're witnessing. It's like it's like a poem.
Yeah.
I love poems, but a poem, like a 1-page poem versus like a novel, they're like different.
It's like not
things.
even comparable in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So it's just like you got to appreciate something like this for what it is. And in that respect, it's beautiful. It's a work of art.
Double chef kiss from a boy.
You know what this movie reminded me a lot of in many scenes? The Legend of Zelda.
Interesting. Why?
Because if you've ever played like the OG ones, like the NES or Super Nintendo ones,
I spent most of my time with Ocarina.
There's no story.
Yeah, you just
at the beginning. You're just like on a beach, and then you're in a world, and you're like going in the tall grass, and then there's a creature, and you're just like, "What's this fountain?"
Yeah,
and there's a childlike wonderment to the way that Zelda progresses, and the way that these girls were going around in the forest, and they see the big tree, and they discover Totoro.
Yeah.
And then the bus comes. There's just these magical creatures and unexplained phenomena. And I just kept getting these flashes of Legend of Zelda.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And it made me very nostalgic.
I believe it, yeah.
It was 1988, too, so I think that was around the same time.
It's gotta be pretty close for at least some of the some
NES. I feel like that was like the OG Zelda was like 86.
Oh, nice.
Something like that, so.
That's crazy.
Yep, same country of origin.
Yeah.
Similar sort of aesthetic and feeling.
Yeah. Oh, the score was really lovely, too.
Yeah, it was like
it's lush,
mysterious as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like sparse when it needed to be. Like we talked about the moments of silence, and it's like
but it had these like epic moments.
Seriously, too. And just like fun, interesting sounds, and like all of Totoro's little sound effects were so fun.
Oh, Can we talk about the toad,
dude? Oh my god. We're gonna have to put the toad up. Let's put the toad up right here. Dude.
We'll pop the toad up, hopefully, if our producers get around to it. There's just a normal toad. It's not a magical toad.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
It's
not like a spirit animal.
It's such a weird
It's just
scene.
a regular toad on the ground. And at the end of the scene with Totoro in the rain, and he gets on the cat bus and flies away. The girls look at the toad, and the toad looks up at them and just goes, ah. Like a human, like an agonized human yell.
It was very strange, but I liked it.
Not even close to the sound of a frog.
No, it was not. I when it opened its mouth and made that noise, I was taken aback.
Like, what was that? And it was like the end of the scene, so there was no like reacting to it.
Nope, just Toad, on to the next.
It was just like a transitional moment.
But yeah, that, and then like the little fucking the noises that the sprouts of the little seeds. Yeah. That whole scene was so cool too. I really loved that.
Yeah, Totoro gives the girls a satchel of magical seeds. And when they get home, they plant them in they like fence off a little garden plot. They plant their seeds, and then that night they go to sleep, and they wake up in the morning and call it a dream, but as the scene unfolds, it's being presented as like
reality
happening.
Yeah.
But Totoro comes to their little garden plot, and him and his mini version of him and the mini version are all jumping over the plot back and forth,
and then doing little dances.
They're holding umbrellas. Totoro has a real umbrella that he got from the girls, and then the mini ones have like a leaf and a branch.
Oh, no. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, they all have a miniature version of their umbrella, and they're doing like magic on the garden plot, jumping over it. They're like, oh, like they're like pulling the umbrella up to like try to pull the seeds up. And then the girls join them,
and it like seems to help so much.
It helps, and their energy brings the seeds to life, and they're like, whoa! And then the seeds come up. They're like,
yeah. And then they fucking turn into like You know, a little bit bigger brushes and bushes, and they all start to intertwine.
That is a beautiful animation
Dude,
sequence.
I loved it. And it just kept getting bigger and more full until it was a whole tree.
It's like all like the 12 small saplings start fusing together into one massive trunk. And it's like flowing like the wind, and the branches are sprawling out, and it's like domineering over their house.
Dude.
It's like 300 feet tall.
That's so cool. I just love seeing animation like that. It's so smooth and just so clearly. I mean, fuck, dude. How many pictures do you think that is? Like, it's got to be like fucking 10,000 or something stupid.
So many frames, all individually hand drawn.
Yep.
By Miyazaki himself.
Yep.
We watched at the very beginning of the movie, they put this like mini documentary, like a 5-minute little mini doc at the beginning of it's like maybe one of the producers or a super fan or something. Like, and then meeting Miyazaki, and they're talking about his most recent work. And it's showing Miyazaki in the studio, like going over all the keyframing of not even the movie, of the storyboarding. He's hand animating the storyboards to give to the animators to even do the movie. Yeah. Which he will then also do.
Yeah, and he will take that part too.
He's so dedicated to his craft.
Dude, I had to look up, because I've looked it up before, but the average amount of like drawings in a Ghibli movie is insane.
What's the number?
I think it was like 80,000 or more.
It's a lot of drawings.
That's a lot of drawings.
Your wrist would get tired. Like,
dude,
I had to write my wedding thank yous, and my wrist was getting like broken after like 12.
Oh my God.
This guy's like old too.
That's insane.
Well, I guess in 88 he wasn't as old.
Yeah, but still, dude. I mean, like, imagine the arthritis, dude, and like, oh.
I don't want to. I won't do it.
Let's see if this works. I was right on the money. It was 80,000.
80,000 frames in the average Ghibli movie?
Yeah, well, no, specifically just My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've read that some of them could get up to like 160,000 though.
Jeez.
And that's just like, what are you doing?
That's no computers.
No, literally not
this
at all.
This is pre-Pixar.
Yeah, I mean, they've done one movie with like semi-computer animation.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
It's not the formula.
It's not at all.
You got to do what you know.
It wasn't Miyazaki either. It was his son, I think.
Oh,
yeah. Get it right.
Get it tight.
That's right. America.
Miyazaki. It's Zaki time.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, I think I pretty much said everything I wanted about this movie.
Yeah, there's not too much to dissect.
No.
Like, Parasite had all these symbolic themes and stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
This is simpler.
Yeah.
It's just childhood, a little fear, a little sadness, a little growth.
A little adventure.
Imagination.
Yeah. Fun fucking time. It's definitely one that I will keep in my, 10-year rotation.
Yeah. And when I start developing a hard drive of children's movies for my future kids, it's going at the top of the list.
Dude, all the Ghiblis that are decent. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my kids are not going to have access to the internet.
Dude, no fucking.
They're not streaming their own media. I'm going to have.
This is our job.
I'm going to have hard drives on an SD card on a tablet, and they can watch anything that I give them to watch.
That's right.
They don't get YouTube.
No way, dude. Well, there's probably not going to be YouTube.
They'll have some sort of child tube propaganda
just a chip,
network.
dude. Just a fucking
chip tube.
Yeah. You don't even need a chip. It's going to be blasted directly into their brains.
It's also it's going to be non-optional because the fascist doctor is going to plug a chip into your kid's head at birth and then start teaching them against your will as a parent from day one.
That's great.
To create a super soldier for the Trump fascist regime. You ready?
Oh, I hope we are.
Yeah. It's going to be a powerful moment.
Oh my God. Well, thank you guys for watching. as always.
Thanks again. We'll be back next Monday.
Yeah, please feel free to smash that like and subscribe.
Smash it! Leave us a comment about Totoro or your favorite Ghibli movie, something
please,
like that.
I want to know.
Let us know.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of them. I need to know if I'm missing out.
Yeah. All right. We love you guys. This has been Quiet in the Back. Shh.
The fear of the unknown. Their imaginations are powerful and help guide them home. The world is a mystery and much overgrown. That's why they look to their neighbor Totoro.は道への恐怖と向き合っています。彼らの想像力は力強く、それが彼らを義へと導いてくれる。世界は謎に満ち草木が石光っています。だからこそ彼らは隣のトトロを頼りにするのです。あなたの子供たちは道への恐怖と向き合っています。彼らの想像力は力強く、それが彼らを一へと導いてくれる。世界は謎に満ち草木が愛しがっています。彼らは隣のトトロを頼りにするのです。